Welcome to the show. EKU has a new football coach, Walt Wells, and if you follow Colonel football, you know Walt. An assistant under Roy Kidd and then Dean Hood for a year. Welcome back.
Thank
and
you
I know
so much.
you're excited. You said something in your opening comments to Colonel fans here on campus about the tradition. You embrace it.
No doubt. I mean, there's so much tradition here. I mean, Coach Kidd and his legacy, those teams he's had, the national championship teams, the Rice Bowl champions. I mean, there's so much legacy here that it's really us. You know, it can be intimidating at times. And I embrace that because that's who we are. That's our DNA. That's what that's what it's about to be the coach here. That's what it's about to be a player here. That's what it's about to be a fan here, is to expect to win. And that's what we have to do.
You also said you were going to have a player-driven team. What do you mean by that?
I want the players to be the most important part of our program. Not me, not our coaches, not our past, not our fans, our players, because they're the ones that are going to win it for us. I mean, when it all comes down, players win games, and that's what we got to go out and do. You know, coaches lose them, players win them. And I want the players to feel like they're the most important part of this program. Now, I know, everybody's equal, and I understand that part of it. I don't want it to be an arrogance, but I want them to feel the love that we have for them, the trust we put in them, the belief we put in them, so they can go out on the field and play that way. Because if you don't love who you're playing with, if you don't trust who you're playing with, it's not going to work out.
Think you were building towards being a head coach? Did you always feel that was your trajectory?
You know, when you're a young coach, you want to be a head coach immediately. You know, all right, I've been a position coach, I've been a coordinator, it's time to do the next thing. And life doesn't work out that way. You know, some people get it fast. You know, you think about Will, who was here in 98, I think it was. And he's been a head coach for how long? Will Muschamp, correct. I'm sorry. And then you think of, other people. You know, Dean was the same way, Dean Hood. But then there's me. I'm 52 and I'm just now getting my first shot, and I'm appreciative of that. And I think every year that you're a coach, you're trying to get better at something, and you should get better at something. And every year I feel like I've learned something throughout the process. I've always told people I'm somewhat of a late maturity guy, and I'm not saying that's good or bad, but for me in this case, that's probably one of the reasons why. I think now in my point in life, I'm to a point where I understand the whole as different as the part.
Right.
When you're a line coach, you're in the fray. You're in there. You got those big dudes, and you got to teach them how to go to war. You got to teach them how to put their face on people and all that stuff. And you get that mindset, and you think that's how everybody should be. And then as you mature and you coordinate for the first time, like for me, I realize what it's like to be in a receiver room. I realize what it's like to be in the quarterback room, which translates to what's it like to be in a linebacker room, to a DB room. And you got to treat those kids, a little differently. You can't treat them like an O-lineman.
Biggest lesson you learned from Roy Kidd?
Whew. I don't know. The biggest lesson. That's a great question,
Most
Greg.
important lesson.
Well, probably the players. To coach always put the players on that could make plays. He always got them on the field.
Right.
And I've been with some coaches that are great men and great teachers and great coaches, but they struggle sometimes finding a way to get the players that are going to win the game for you, which is what we're playing it for, on the field because of whatever reason. It could be this, that, or the other. It could be they don't act the way you want them to. Not that they're acting bad, they're acting the way they act. And you've got to understand that you can't let personal conflicts come in. It's all about, can they do the job for you? And coach always got the best players on the field.
Last 2 years, you've been a quality control person at the University of Kentucky under Mark Stoops, who's had 2 really nice years while you were there. What'd you learn from Stoops?
I learned a lot from Stoops. I said in my press conference, Mark Stoops is one of the best coaches I've been around, and I've been around some good ones, obviously with Coach Kidd. Butch Jones is a phenomenal coach. Willie Taggart was a really good coach. David Elson. Doug Martin out at New Mexico State has done a great job. So Dean obviously, and I don't want to leave anybody else, but Mark. Me and Mark are the exact same age. We kind of had a kinship, and Mark's a fiery guy, but he doesn't let his position coach mentality come through in his head coaching. He's 7 years into it, or 8 years now, I can't remember. And I'm sure he had some struggles early on going through all that. We've talked about all that. But the way he commands the team is just incredible to me. Those kids love him. They play for him. He hardly ever has to yell at them. But he does. I mean, yeah, everybody does. It's the sport of football. That's part of it, you know. Yeah. But he's got them right there. And they believe in him so much that I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I took away is his staff is all, they got his back. I mean, they're all aligned. And, and those 2 years were phenomenal for me.
A couple real quick things. Sure. Commitments. Mark Elder, before he left, told me really good class of commitments. Right. Do you think you can keep most of those guys? Do you want to? And then is the other thing you're doing putting together your own coaching staff?
Right. The commitments, we want every one of them to stay. They all have a place, however it was with Coach Elder. I know Mark. Mark's done a great job in recruiting, and I'm getting to know them. I'm talking to them. I'm fixing to go see some of them. We're having some in this weekend. So, yes, we want to keep them all. The staff is, we're going to make some changes, and we'll go through that. But I'm working and putting those things together. There's some guys on the staff that I'm very interested in talking to, and matter of fact, I'm fixing to go to a staff meeting right now and talk about recruiting and things like that. Whenever there's a change, it's hard. I've been on both ends of that chair, and it's you affect families, you affect dreams, you affect hopes, and that's just how this business works. And when that happens to you, I'll never forget when it happened to me for the first time, which was right here. Yeah. I was devastated. My wife was devastated. And we had a 2-year-old. And it's hard.
Your daughter was born here.
But born here. And it's hard. But you know what? We landed on our feet, and we went from being here at 6 years to Western at 10 years. And I grew through everything that part of the reason I'm probably here is because of what I had to go through at Western. And I would have never been there if what happened to me here didn't happen. When I'm young and that happened, you get a little bitter. And that's just human nature. It is. If you pour your heart into something and they take it away from you, you get a little bitter. It hurts, and it's supposed to hurt. That means you cared. And as we move forward, I feel for those guys, but we've got to do what we've got to do to get this the way I feel like it should go, and to help Colonel football get back. And it's not broken. We just got to take it to another level. We got to embrace it and go.
Walt, welcome back to EKU. Here's hoping that you and the team get to sing a lot of Cabin on the Hills around Roy's statue.
I can't wait.
All right.
No doubt about it. Good to see you, Greg.
All right, good to see you. It's Western Carolina to begin next season. Walt Wells, the new head coach. When we come back, how about the EKU women's basketball team? Another big win. We'll talk with one of the stars of that victory over Xavier when Inside EKU Sports continues.
Every day is a concept that few people can commit to. Every day requires a level of dedication that forces you to test your limits.
Every day I'll give back to the community because I draw strength from their support. Every day the sounds of your cheers will echo through my mind. Knowing that you have my back means I can always look forward.
Every day I'll be too tired to sweat and my bones will ache. Every day will provide me with the slight edge that I need to succeed. Champions are built every day.
Eastern Kentucky women's basketball off to a 6-3 start. Another impressive win on the road again, where they're 3-1. It came over Xavier this past weekend, and a great comeback win. One of the players that was part of that is guard Teri Goodlett. Teri, your team was down 21 in the first half, down 16 in the first few seconds of the fourth quarter. How'd you make the comeback? I know you shot well as a team.
Yeah, it was shooting that got us back into that, but we didn't give up. We fought to the end, and that's what got us over the top and got us the win. We didn't give up.
That's the one thing I've noticed under new head coach Samantha Williams. This team plays so hard, and you never quit. Possession after possession after possession. There's a new mentality here.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about it. Did you have to reinvent yourself and co-mingle with the new players? How did this come about? Because it's easy to say we're going to do it. It's another thing to prove it on the court.
Yes, sir. We definitely had to come together. We had to push through. We kind of had to self-evaluate, trying to take a look at what we need to do better, how we can do better, and what each person can do for each other on the team. And everybody knows their job, and we all do it. So it's like, I don't know, just everything we do in practice carries over into the game, and we practice hard, so we play hard.
You play the one some now too. That's a new position for you, right? Tell me about the transition for you personally to the point guard position.
I've had my coaches, like my assistant coaches and the head coach, they've helped me, and they're still helping me continue to grow in that position. I can definitely say that I'm more comfortable in that position than I was before. But I give my coaches the credit for that.
The one thing also, there's no one star that you say, okay, this person has to score 20 tonight to win the game. There are 8 different players between averaging 5 and just below 11. So who knows where the production's going to come from? That's fun. It's a share the wealth kind of team.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that and how that changes the dynamic.
It's fun. You don't, like you say, you don't know who it's going to come from. So we feed who's hot, and if you're not hot, we keep shooting. We don't tell you to stop shooting. It's going to fall eventually. We just we're unselfish. We're unselfish like all the time. So
to back up that point, EKU was shooting 20% through the first 3 quarters against Xavier. And then in the fourth quarter, when you made that rip-roaring comeback, you're 9 of 12 from the field, 6 of 8 on 3. When that 3 ball goes in, it changes you on the other end of the court too, doesn't it? You play good defense.
Yeah.
Do you think the improvement's more on the offensive end from the past few years or on the defensive end?
I would say both. I would say both.
What about going to Vanderbilt, SEC team? They've already played 3 OVC teams, beat TSU by 51, beat Jacksonville State by 22, behind Tennessee Tech at halftime, but beat the Golden Eagles by 14. So this is their 4th OVC game. They only lost to Connecticut by 13, so this is a big challenge. How excited are you to go against Vandy?
I'm definitely excited just off of beating the Big East team, just to go for an even bigger team in the SEC. So I think we're ready for that.
Now, as we do this show, it's finals week, so we know what's keeping you busy outside of practice this week, nailing down those finals, but also off the court when you have a little time. Hobbies, likes, what do you do?
I play video games.
Do you?
Yeah, I play the PS4 some. Yeah.
You're best on the team?
Yeah.
Really? You claim that title, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Teri, it's really refreshing to watch this team. So proud of you and Coach Sam and all the players. Congratulations. Good luck down at Vandy.
Thank you.
All right, Teri Goodlett of the women's basketball team. It's Vanderbilt and Eastern Kentucky down in Nashville on Sunday. It is a 4 o'clock tip-off. When we come back, there is another indoor sport that you think, oh, it's outdoors. But hey, track and field is also indoors. We'll meet one of the EKU assistant coaches when Inside EKU Sports moves along.
At Eastern Kentucky University, we recognize greatness starts in the classroom, but it doesn't end there. You have to get hands-on, get real-world experience, and discover who you are meant to be. Be a crime fighter. Be a visionary. Be a colonel. See what you can be. Visit go.eku.edu/colonel.
Time now on the show to talk track and field. In a way, we're in between seasons, but really we have started the indoor season. And O'Jike Maat is with us. He is one of the assistant coaches. And so you're over at the Jingle Bell Invitational in Lexington last week. Didn't run the distance runners, but you coached the sprinters and the field people. So you got a little work in, and some of the athletes did really well.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was really nice to kind of get out early and kind of see where you are, maybe knock a little rust off early on in the season, just to kind of pick up from what we did in cross country and transition into track and field. We kind of tried to pick the torch up from, where they left it, and hopefully it bodes well for us as we actually get into the heart of the indoor season.
So it starts the indoor season truly over at another invitational at UK in early January. The OVC indoors are then in late February. So is it a build-up process to the conference championships? Is that the way you approach it?
You're absolutely spot on. It's definitely a progression. Obviously, early on in the season, you're going to have a lot of rust, and in terms of execution, you aren't going to be as crisp as you'll probably be later on in the season. So, what you try to do is improve on the little things that, might not necessarily go well early on, so that when you do get to the conference championships and it's time to be at your best and really peak, you're able to do so and you're confident in what you've done up to that point.
Back to the Jingle Bell event, Quantasia Perry in the 60 meters and 200 meters had a good meet.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really a testament to her. Obviously, we're going through a little bit of some logistical issues in terms of, what we have to do with training. We're going to have a beautiful facility over at the track once that's completed. But for the time being, we have to be a little bit creative in terms of what we do in terms of training. And Quantasia, as well as, some of our other athletes, they haven't complained one bit. They've been receptive of what we're doing and the direction that we're going. And obviously, like you mentioned, it showed early, and hopefully it'll show often.
Ashley Barr won the 1,000 meters in that event.
Yes, that was, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, a little bit of progression for us. Not a race that you typically run in track and field meets, but I thought it was a good opener for her, because she's going to drop down and run the 800 when we do get to that Jim Green Invitational and later on in our conference championships. And I thought the way that she ran and executed an event that you don't typically see at a track meet was phenomenal.
And then in the 400 meters on the men's side, EKU really had a great effort there, first, second, and fourth.
Absolutely. And again, the way those guys responded, the first time that, we've been on a track, for some of them and not quite being as sharp as we're going to be, like I mentioned, I think the way that they executed the race and fought hard all the way through, I thought that was really, really commendable. And I'm excited to kind of see how that turns out with those three guys and how our 4x4 obviously will turn out once, we kind of add another guy in there and really get after it in that.
I know one reason you're excited, O'Jike, that was kind of your discipline in college when you ran at Memphis, right?
That's absolutely right. So 400 hurdles, 4x4, that was kind of, my niche. And obviously I've tried to transition over here and make sure that's an event area that we're really strong in.
One guy you lose who can score a lot of points in the indoor is Joshua Reedy, who's so good at the HEP and the decathlon as well, whether it's indoor or outdoor. And so now those points may be gone, or you're going to have to get some points. So is there going to be a bigger challenge because of losing such a star athlete when we get to the indoors on the conference level? Oh,
absolutely. And there's no way around it. When you lose somebody of his caliber and what he was able to bring to the table from a points perspective, like you mentioned, you kind of have to do it by committee, because I'll be honest, right now in the sprint, jump, hurdle area, we don't have a Joshua Reed, but we're strong in the 400. Got Bryce Favors, who's really strong in the short sprints and the jumps. Had a pole vaulter, Brandon Brookfield, that opened up really well, and he's got an OVC lead jump right now. So that's kind of how we're going to have to do it. Multiple people in multiple different disciplines, kind of picking up the slack that he kind of left off from an athlete standpoint, but he's actually helping us out as a graduate assistant and is kind of taking on the coaching role, and he's doing a phenomenal job for us in terms of getting our field event athletes ready and making sure they're ready to go.
Okay, have a happy holiday and good luck the rest of the indoor season.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Greg.
We will turn our attention to men's basketball. Tough one coming up Saturday. The #1 team in the nation awaits the Curdles. We'll be back with one of the Curdle players after this on Inside EKU Sports.
We are more than just athletes. We inspire scholars. We inspire leaders. We inspire champions. We inspire family. This is the Ohio Valley Conference.
Next game for the EKU men's basketball team at the University of Louisville, the #1 team in the country, and that is the second time that EKU will have played a #1 team ever in the hoops history, over 100 years. Tyrone Taylor is with us. Ty, graduate transfer from UNC Wilmington, second on the team in scoring. You're shooting the ball pretty well right now. Do you feel like you're kind of getting used to your new team and finding your niche?
Yeah, it took a little bit for me to get going, but my teammates have been very supportive in my efforts, and I work hard, and things are starting to come around.
I know, Coach, after a disappointing 3 games, 2 in D.C. and 1 at USC Upstate, really pushed the team hard in practice. Even though you didn't get the win at Northern Kentucky, I thought the team responded. I saw a real encouraging sign. Am I on target there?
Yeah, we in that first half and then going into our second half, I thought we spread the ball around really well, and we made shots. We got good open looks, and we made them. I think our next step is finishing, because we made some great strides, and I'm excited for the future.
As the team goes, you're shooting just below 40%, and Coach has said it on post-game radio shows a lot. When you don't get those shots to fall, you can't set up your press as much. So got to get that shooting percentage up if we can.
Yeah, I think just taking open shots helps with that, and we saw that in our last game. I think earlier in our season, we were taking tougher shots, probably lower percentage shots, and that's probably hurting the percentage. But since the last couple of games, I think we've gotten some good open looks, and they fell early for us in our last game. We'd continue that and keep building on it. I think we'll round this thing out and get the clicking at the right time.
And it's important because you get your first 4 games at home in the OVC. So these are not exhibition games. They count as a win or a loss, but yet there's a new season coming, and that's got to really kind of be motivation, I would think.
Extremely motivational. For us, we understand that the conference season is like a new season, but we want to correct some of our mistakes right now in the non-conference, and I think we're going in the right direction. Like you said, those 4 home games are really, really big for us. So I think all of us are really excited going forward, and we look forward to just getting a fresh start in the conference. I'm ready and I'm excited for my team. I'm confident in my team. So it'll be good for us.
You were already a college graduate. You got your degree in mass communications at Wilmington. What was the minor was pre-law and sports administration. Yeah. So what are you working on at Eastern, and what's your goal after basketball?
I'm working on a sports administration master's degree right now. It's going pretty well for me. After college, I want to play professional for a little bit, but the dream, I want to stay in sports. I think becoming a GM for a professional team here would be ideal for me. I think that would be pretty cool.
Want to do that and be in administration rather than coach?
I just like the idea of putting guys together,
right, and
formulating teams. I think we all have had those fantasies of, I wonder if this guy would look like with this guy playing. So I think I'd be good at that.
I saw in your bio you play the alto sax.
Yes, I play alto sax. My first love, honestly, is probably music. And I just, as a kid, I was just so interested in how things were put together. So I had an uncle who played jazz, a great uncle actually. He played jazz in the 70s and 80s, and he had some extra instruments. And going into middle school, I asked him if I could borrow one from my music class. So I played alto sax through middle school. I stopped playing about 9th grade.
Could you pick it up and play a song for us, or would you have to reinvigorate your ability?
I can still read music, but I'd have to knock some rust off for sure.
Yeah. Who's your favorite jazz singer or jazz musician?
Miles Davis, maybe.
Yeah, that's an answer you hear a lot, right?
Yeah, he's good. He was very influential throughout his time.
It's going to be a big challenge, but are you pumped to play the #1 team in the country?
I'm excited.
I already played the #2 team.
Right. I'm always excited to play basketball. No matter who's out there, no matter who's on my team, I always have that belief that there's a chance.
Good luck against the Cards.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Ty Taylor with us here as we end the show. The Colonels against the U of L Cards. Noon tip, we'll have our radio call at 100.7 FM, also on the TuneIn app and streamed at EKUsports.com. The game airing as well on the ACC network. That does it for another edition of Inside EKU Sports. Like and follow all Colonel Athletics on all of these social media pages. Until next time, we're going to take a break for the holidays, back in early January here on Inside EKU Sports. Go Big E.